You know what is interesting about them is that when Erling Haaland signed, I had a picture in my mind of the type of goal he would score a lot of, and as it turns out, not so much, really. Like the types of runs that it feels a little bit like they've adapted a bit more around him than I was expecting. I thought he would be, earlier we talked about kind of Lewandowski's scoring positions at Bayern. I kind of imagined that to be him, and that you would see a sort of a slightly narrow focus to him, like more of a purely penalty box player. Like a Borussia Dortmund, he wasn't a penalty box player really. He scored goals in the penalty box, but he contributed elsewhere too. And I guess I'm surprised at kind of the breadth of his attacking contribution, and the kind of the way it looks with him in that side. That's interesting. I love watching him. I know that's not a particularly original observation, but I love watching a player who surprises me and who does new stuff and who reveals new strengths and new areas of supremacy, like against defenders. It's fascinating, and he's just ridiculous as a footballer.
Lisandro Martinez, John, could he be the centre-back to stop Haaland with his going with
a Norwegian pronunciation there, yeah.
With his shortness? I didn't get the joke out.
I mean, no one can defend.
No, someone
Erling
must be
Haaland.
able to.
Okay, so the defender who I've seen do the best job against Erling Haaland is Nico Schlotterbeck last season for Freiburg, and he's obviously moved on to.
It's a little bit of Freiburg bias on your part.
Bit of Freiburg bias, but
point,
I did watch all of their games last season, so I got to see him playing a lot. But and yet he was the player who was brought on to mark Haaland when Dortmund were playing against Man City, and then Erling Haaland scores that ridiculous goal at the back post to I think put them ahead. Was it the one that won it for them?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's the mantra, right? You can be good at marking Erling Haaland, but that doesn't mean that you're always going to stop him from scoring. Now, I think a lot of people have mentioned that when Ajax played against Dortmund in the Champions League last season, that Lisandro Martinez did a good job of marking.
A number? Did he do a number?
But I've also heard people say that's actually not true, and the goals that were scored, he was nowhere to be seen. I've not watched the game back recently, so I wouldn't like to stake my life on it. But yeah, I think that Erling Haaland, when you're defending him, you have to be super positionally aware. If you're trying to go up against him in a physical 1v1, you're never going to do it, especially if you're Lisandro Martinez. But I think that if you can read the game well, if you can get into situations where you can stop him from getting into situations where he scores. So if you're good at the positional side of defending, then you have a chance. But even then, it's still, inshallah.
There you go, Lisandro. That's your framework. Whatever.
Pray to the gods.
Coaching.
If you like this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. The Athletic is home to some of the world's best sports journalists, including David Ornstein, Daniel Taylor, Ollie Kay, Amy Lawrence and Rafa Honigstein. There are journalists dedicated to each Premier League team, so every fan gets the coverage they deserve, not just the big clubs. And you can try it for free now for 30 days. See the link in the description.